Hello and welcome to Healing Tips from the Heart, Intuition with Helpers, Healers, and Guides. I am your host, Dr. Lori Hops, licensed psychologist, writer, and artist. I've explored mind, body, and spirit related to intuition, or your personal guidance system, since early childhood. Meet my guests who have learned from their personal and professional lives to explore vast realms of knowing, synchronicities, and overcoming challenges. Their stories may inspire you with tools to enhance your daily living and relationships. Hello, everyone, and welcome my special guest for today, John Lavack.
Hey, Lori. Hi, everyone. Yeah.
I'm going to tell a little bit about you, and then you can fill in some of these gaps. So,
Okay.
John, I asked John to describe his background, and he said that he's been running away from energy modalities and energy healing for a long time, but it caught up with him more than 4 decades ago. And he has had many classes that he's taken and studied things like NLP and mind potential, and was at the Academy for Intuition Medicine, where he was a student and an instructor. And he has worked with some of the best minds in the field, both teaching energy practices like the Bengston Method and also being involved with research, which I'm sure we're going to be speaking about some more. And I also want people to know that I met you for the first time in 2018 when I took my first in-person class with Bill Bengston, who is now of blessed memory. And it was in Santa Barbara after a very devastating flood and mudslide where there was loss of life, unfortunately. But you still held the workshop, and most of the city was deserted or closed down. But we were there across from the ocean for a glorious weekend, learning in person these unbelievable, really unbelievable, miraculous ways of healing. I had met Bill back in 2010 when he spoke as keynote presenter for the ACEP conference. But that was my first introduction to him. But you were there in 2018, and I did in-person workshops and practice groups after that. And then in 2020, all of that shut down. And that's when I really got to know you better through online work. And I've been a devotee of your stupendous training, mentorship, and I have to say, occasional really bad pun jokes.
Oh, none of them are bad.
So anyway, it's been just a delight to work with you online all these years, and I'm just thrilled that you're here today. Thank you for coming and joining today.
Thank you. Huh.
So
I don't know what to say
with
after
that
that.
introduction, yeah, I'd love for you to tell people a little bit more about Bill and how did you get to know him, and what brought you into this incredible part of your life that you're living right now.
Oh boy. How I met Bill, I was, when I went through the Academy of Intuition Medicine, they also had an adjunct that was Energy Medicine University. So they had a degree granting facility or institution. And Bill got coursed into teaching both statistics and research methods on the master's and PhD program. So that's how I met him. I was having the delight of learning statistics and research methods from him. And the first thing he said in the very first, we did it over the phone there was a few of us. And he said, you know, statistics is BS. You can make statistics say anything you want. I'm going, oh, great. Now I got to learn all this stuff and it doesn't matter. And but he was always really honest and saying how you could turn things, and he was very demanding as a professor, which was wonderful. And it came up in the classes that what he was doing with the the healing method or the Bengston cycling method. He didn't want to be called the Bengston cycling method. He just wanted to be called the healing cycling method or anything else. He didn't want his name attached, but we all ignored him and called it the Bengston cycling method. And so he said if I went to a class in Florida and I living in the Bay Area, he would comp me in. So I jumped on a plane and went did his class, and that was just the end of January of 2011. And his oldest granddaughter was born that weekend. So I think it was the end of January, beginning of February. We just have to find out when her birthday is. We'll know when. And and I'd known him for, I guess, almost a year before that as a voice on the phone. So we became very good friends. And then he started throwing me under the bus to help with research. And so that's, and then I started bringing him out here to teach classes, and we did a class every year up until COVID.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was through 1440 in Santa Cruz, so that was a year that I didn't have one here because they didn't want to pull people away from it, and that was at the same time that 2018 that we went from Santa Cruz down to Santa Barbara when after the flood, the fires and the floods, and then we went online for the next, still going online, yeah.
Yeah, you lead an incredible free group for people who've been through the trainings, and you're a trainer yourself. And it's really a beautiful, loving, supportive community of people who are there ready really for their own healing, but for the betterment of our planet, I think, and of life. Just some really open-hearted, sincere people who,
Yeah.
you know.
I was surprised while people kept coming to the practice groups, both in person, which we still have going. We started in 2013, a practice group here, and it's still going. And then when COVID happened, that went online, and then most of the people stayed online, but some of us have got back to doing it in person every week. But I've asked several people, why do you keep doing it? You really know the method well. Why do you need to practice? And it's like, it's not about the practice, it's about the community.
Exactly.
And being able to help each other and being some amazing healings through the group. So, yeah.
Some incredible healing. So for those who don't know, never heard of this before, and of course there's the book, The Energy Cure, which Bill wrote, which talks about this. But would you be able to give a nutshell summary of what it is we're even talking about?
Okay, it's a methodology or a method of healing that I think just about anybody can learn. And skilled probably depends on how much you practice and ease and facility, but anybody can learn it. And the core of it is connecting with healthy frequencies of energy. I'm going to give my interpretation rather than. So the core of it is to get as many positive futures that you can connect to that you'll know when you have it. You say, "Oh, I want to be happy." That's not specific enough. Okay, maybe happy is going to be having just the right vacation and saying wherever in the world. I was going to say Portugal, but I don't want to pick on any other country or someplace an experience that you really like to have. That okay, when you're in Portugal, you know you've achieved it. If it's say a weight goal or a health goal, you know you've achieved it by evidence. So that's really helpful so that you can get into the experience of having it. And then having several of those futures that you want linked together in a way you go through them very rapidly, and that creates, my sense of it, is a resonant field that shifts your overall energy. And then like attracts like. So if you're in alignment with something you really want, and same frequency like tuning a radio or tuning a television, when you had to tune a TV, right, then it'll just come into your reality. And so that's that's the core of how it seems to work. Now, the evidence is in laboratories over and over again. It's making measurable changes in uh, uh, most of the research has been on the cancer cells because it's the easiest to research. Changes in, I'm going to say, what's activated in the DNA, the genomic sequencing, the genomes that are activated in the DNA are changed in the DNA. So for a lay person, it changes the DNA. For the sciencey person, it's changing what's activated in the DNA. The genomic sequencing is changed, and cancers have repeatedly been shrunk and evaporated. Just about the vast majority of research that Bill did over the years, repeated over and over again, was breast cancer that was injected into mice. And before the healing method and since and after, the only healing method that has worked with that in the thousands of experiments has been the Bengston Healing Method. So no, nothing different because the mice are virtually genetically identical. The cancer is the same. The only difference has been whether it's Bengston cycling or not. And then with the research that I've been involved in, I can speak about it now because they've published some, and there's more to publish at MD Anderson. It's on pancreatic cancers, a lot of different kinds, and I've purposely stayed in the dark because I didn't want to know too much about it to get my hopes and wishes or whatever interfering. And it has repeatedly stopped the migration or the metastases of cancers, and has either stopped or shrank the cancers. So, and they keep getting results, and we're 4.5 years into experiments, and they've got another 2 years that they want to keep going on anyway. So there's a lot of evidence and results that they've been having. So there's enough to keep up the expense of the research. So that's, and
Thank you for the work that you're doing. It's really incredible. So just for those who are a little bit maybe confused, if it's okay if I just summarize
please
that,
do make it.
yeah, that was a great description, is that, yes, we are talking about someone sitting silently, imagining a positive future for themselves. And in doing so, with nothing else, no other devices, no machinery, not even in contact necessarily physically with these cancer cells,
Never in contact with them
never in
physically.
contact with them. So not even in the same space then, always at a distance?
Um, if the closest would be probably 6 inches or so, but there's no actual physical contact.
Okay.
I was going to say, and some of it's been done from California to Texas, and some of it's been done from one side of a building to another, and distance is irrelevant, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it blows the mind.
mine's here. Yeah,
So
yeah.
just by having these people who are trained in this method, including sometimes skeptics, because I've read the research and I know that they've done trials with skeptics too. You don't have to be a believer. Just practice the method, get really good at it, and then sit with an intention of just being in that space of acquiring these things selfishly for yourself that are a positive, that make you feel good about yourself and life and that you're happy about. And just being in that mere presence of that energy field or mental state or whatever you want to call it, healing resonance, there are these incredible changes that happen where not only do the cancers stop spreading, but they also, the animals go into remission and live a normal lifespan, and that's animals, right? And
Yeah.
the petri dishes show signs, the cancer in the petri dishes shows signs um, of no more growth, and then healing too, or the cells return to a healthy state, or
They appear to, yes. I don't know enough to state what's happening with the cells, whether they become benign or change, because I just know that there's enough of a change that they want to keep examining and resulting, and so it stops the growth of the cancer. And
Yeah.
I think has become more benign. And then with the mice over and over again, it stops there's no migration of the cancer cells or metastases.
Yep, it's just
Yeah.
incredible. And this method is also applicable to humans for things besides health problems. So we have a lot of anecdotal information, case studies with people having all kinds of positive effects in their own happiness, in their own relationships and success in business and how they feel about themselves and just the ease of living,
Hmm.
kind of like having a cloud lifting off. But you know, the most convincing for the person who's interested in science, I think, are the lab studies. But I don't want you to think that the Bengston method is only for lab rats or
No.
mice.
No, there've been healing of all kinds of animals. Most of the examination and focus has been on cancers, but
Hmm.
it seems to work on any kind of injuries, um, and the distance is irrelevant. I've now had clients, I think it's in 44 or 46 countries. Um, so I like to have a captive audience. I do it over the telephone so that I have somebody who can listen to my jokes usually. Um, and it doesn't matter the distance. You can do it remotely. There are folks that like to do it with not even on a telephone, um, and they're getting really good results.
Yes.
Now, it's not 100% guarantee, and the way I make sense of it is it's a healing method, so we facilitate people healing themselves, um, providing an environment that is conducive, the energy resonances. I'll use the word resonance frequencies, the space, virtual space that is conducive for people healing. Now,
Mhm.
there's a fairly high success rate, somewhere in the neighborhood of 80% or so. That over the time that I've been working, it was closer to 90, but it seems overall, if I include everything in, it's probably 80% in a range, 80% plus range of successes. And I don't know what the difference that makes a difference is, but there is something, um, and people's desire to really heal and their willingness to be vulnerable, huge. Um, and they don't have to believe in it at all.
Right,
But people that I
true.
have no idea what you're doing, and I don't know if this is real or not, um, but they're willing to try. And a lot of times it's folks that have tried everything else, and it's kind of like the last stop. And it's like nothing else has worked, well, might as well try you. And it's funny that usually those folks that are there, they're going, what kind of guarantee can you give them? What kind of guarantee did you get from all the other methodologies you've tried, from the chemo and the radiation and the immunotherapies and whatever else, and diet and all the other pieces? And so it's not I don't want to say it's a miracle cure. I don't like to say it that way. It definitely wonderful in the way it works. So
Yes.
I'll go
And
from
just
there.
so people know, you're not the only person who is trained
Mm-mm.
to do beyond the self-care to work with others. There's a cadre of people who have been
Yes.
trained in this and have perfected it and have healing practices that they offer in person and at a
Yeah.
distance.
People are acknowledged as having the expertise, and I think it's most people that are also, uh, let me see, um, authorized to teach. And there's more folks than that. Anybody who's done the workshop and practiced, um, they're probably going to be pretty good at it. And if it takes, say, if it can't have a comparison, but let's say, okay, I'm really great now, or any of us that are doing there really good, and it takes us an hour of cycling. If it takes you 2 hours of cycling and you get the same result, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just cycle some more. So it's it's kind of like swimming. If you enjoy swimming, it doesn't matter whether you're swimming at Mark Spitz speed, or can I even say that, Mark Spitz speed, or or you're just dog paddling around. If you're enjoying it and doing the cycling, it's going to make a difference. and it's going
Yes.
to help. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight this term cycling a little bit. So we're actually talking about not just thinking of a few things that are make you happy or that you want in your future, but many, 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 in fact, 20 or more. And what you're doing is creating a resonant space of these states of being coming at you very, very quickly, oftentimes with a visual cue, but not necessarily. It can also be the emotion or the way your body feels when you achieve it. And
Mm.
so, but because it was predominantly taught as a visual uh, mode, they called it rapid visual cycling, hence the term cycling. So just to clarify, like, what, are we on bicycles? No.
Yes. You can
Yeah.
cycle and be on a bike. No, it is rapidly going through. It's cycling through the list. And it's sort of like you have um, the experience of what it is you want, getting it to some kind of symbol. It can be a sound or an image, snapshot, whatever, and then to a word.
Hmm.
And so as you're going through the list of words, one word for each thing that you want, then you start speeding up. And so that's going faster and faster and faster. And you're doing the word to the image or the symbol to the experience. And then you keep going faster, and pretty soon you can't keep up consciously, but your subconscious is so much faster. A while ago, it was the idea that it was probably a million times faster than our conscious mind.
Wow.
I don't know if that's the case. It's probably underestimating. And so getting it interested and going, and then just going faster and faster and intending faster, and things start to happen. And then as you're practicing more, it's as natural as breathing or walking.
Yes, yes. And I think I saw some studies that showed that there were some brainwave spikes that happen during this state. And so it's not a conscious, it's not a regular waking state of consciousness that you put
No.
yourself in.
It was now why I don't have any hair is they had electrodes all over my head a lot, and I just gave up and shaved what little I had left off so that it'd be easier. Um, but the earlier on, I don't know if it's the case still, but um, the predominance were delta brain waves, which is deep sleep state for the adult brain, and gamma, which is really high beta, which is when you're thinking super fast. So those two happening at the simultaneously at the same time, um, which really excellent meditators, yogis, things like that can get to the delta brainwave frequencies, but they're not generating the gamma. And I don't know enough about all the brainwave frequencies to talk really intelligently, but so those two happening simultaneously has at least for a while ago was unique to the Bengston cycling method. So
Yeah, and it's possible that invites in unusual states of being that might
mhm,
then piggyback onto the incredible results that we see in the different laboratories
yeah.
and in real life. So now I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here and see if you'll talk a little bit about how does this relate to water and to cotton and to sound, actually, the sound of
Mm.
silence. So
Oh
if
boy.
you don't mind taking one, two, or three of those to briefly speak about and how this is related.
Okay. Um, Now the cotton goes back to experiments that Dr. Bernard Grad did at McGill University in Montreal, Canada. And he did a lot of experiments with a healer by the name of Oscar Escabani, and they were putting, putting positive energy to plants, having the plants grow faster, um, and having anger and everything else put at plants that would stop them from, really retard their growing, and they would have difficulty. And he did hundreds of experiments, but he also charged different materials, and he found that cotton, when it was charged, seemed to hold a charge and have a result. Bernard Grad, and so he started playing with the cotton and charging cotton as a way to store the healing energy. And nothing's measurably different in the cotton that we can measure. It's been examined in all kinds of ways and can't find any difference at all. but it holds a charge, and it's made a difference in cancer cells that have been put on charged cotton versus uncharged cotton. It had the same results as if a person was doing it. So it does hold charge, and it seems to have, until it's taken or until it's used, it seems to hold it indefinitely. There's still a bag of Oscar Escabani charged cotton that he charged in the late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there, that apparently still holds a charge.
It's
And
so
people feeling
incredible.
it.
And you know what I loved about hearing about the cotton when I first did is how if sometimes people will leave the cotton out and animals will seek it. They'll even go like looking in the cupboard, the cats
Well,
like opening
yeah, that was
cabinets.
my niece's cat. Cat's name was Pickles. I don't even know if Pickles is still alive.
Mhm.
Um, I'd sent my niece cotton, and she had it in a cupboard up on an upper shelf with the cupboard door closed. And Pickles got the door open of the cupboard, climbed up the shelves, got the bag of cotton down, and it was like, how do you put a catnip for it? She found a cat just blissed out with the cotton, and it was just like it had some injury. I don't even remember what it was, and it really helped the cat. So it does work.
Yeah,
Um,
and then the animals, once they're cured, don't take an interest in the cotton.
no, and the
They
same
ignore
with the
it.
cycling. If there's a need, they'll come and go. You like be really friendly, please cycle on me, and then once you're finished, it's like, who are you? Especially cats. Like, I don't know you. Yes. But and the water is similar. I'm. It's funny because when I first started working on my PhD, I was working with flower essences and water for clearing energy space. It was called Boot Out, and then I went off on a tangent with cotton after I went to Bill's workshop, and but then they started charging water, and there is, as far as I can tell, maybe a change in the angle of the bond of the hydrogen and oxygen molecules. I'm not sure what that is exactly, but they're getting results of people charging water and giving it to themselves, giving it to others, getting the similar results. And then doing homeopathic potentiating, I think that's the right word, where you keep cutting so there's nothing left of what you started with originally, and all charged, and then having it put through their super secret device. They've got the Bing's water that seems to make quite a difference in some of the experiments that were done in Africa with 300 people, approximately 300 people. They were all got hospitalized for COVID.
Hmm.
Half got the regular treatment, hospital treatment. Well, they all got the regular hospital treatment. Half got Bang's drop water, and the other half just got regular water, well, placebo. And the half that got the Bangs, the healing was much more rapid, and virtually all the side effects were missing from the COVID. And the others went through the same, what everybody else did with the COVID and difficulties and challenge. So it was tested and did quite well.
Yes,
I don't know if Bill ever had the chance to write up the results of that experiment, but
yeah, I believe so. Because, well, somebody did because I wrote a summary that's in the program notes. I wrote a summary blog of these different research studies, and that was in there. So,
so it's we don't know exactly what it is. They haven't been able in any of the research yet to measure what's making the difference. They can measure the pathways of the difference, the genomes that are affected, suppressed, or enhanced, to find which ones. So they're able to measure that. They're able to measure, here's results. But what's generating it so far is eluding measurement. And my hope is that they can. That's why I'm willing to go jump on a plane and go to Houston and be in hot, muggy Houston, and then be in the laboratory looking at either down in the dungeons with the poor mice, or in the lab looking at what do you call it, cell cultures in 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 the liquids. I forget what they
Uh-huh.
call that. The mediums, yes, all the little jars of things that it's not an exciting thing sitting on a sitting with a couple cages of mice and cycling, all dressed up in all your gowns and the whole works. But the reason I'm doing it is if they can measure this, and as soon as it's measurable, then it's replicatable. And if it's replicable, then it's another tool for helping heal on the planet that's
Yes.
not toxic.
Right.
So,
And with no known side effects.
no. Other than your jokes get better. No, just going in with the the sounds of silence.
Yes.
Um, this is going on 9 or 10 years ago. My goodness, yeah, it's about that long ago. At Institute of Noetic Sciences in Petaluma, excuse me. They're not there anymore. Well, they just have an office there, but they had a Faraday cage, and it's a shielded room from electromagnetics. Your phone won't work in there. Nothing wireless works. It's shielded against all kinds of radio waves, everything else. If you have radio inside there, it's not going to work. Um, so it's really shielded from electromagnetics, extraneous electromagnetics. And so they were trying to find out what frequency it was. They had all kinds of microphones and sensors in this room. And so we would go in the room and cycle, and they had to build at that time a special water-cooled or I don't know if it was water, but liquid-cooled computer that cost a whole bunch of money. It was so that it could record all these frequencies simultaneously. And Bill, Margaret, and I, who called ourselves the Three Amigos, were in there charging cotton. And because we'd done other, we worked on people in there and did things. But so we were just in there silently charging cotton. And so then when we took that recording of us charging cotton, and I mean every imaginable frequency you can measure, including scalar waves, which are theoretical waves, I guess. I don't know what a scalar wave is. When we played it back, it was getting results. And when they played it in a lab in Rhode Island, played it to cancer cells just through regular speakers. Here it is, super duper, everything recorded. There's no way that it could be played through regular cheap speakers, but playing it through regular cheap speakers, silence, or just the resonance, it was changing and getting the same changes as if a person was cycling on it or cotton was on it. It was about a third as fast if they could measure it. That was the guess. And I'll throw in another thing here is that when they stopped running the recording, I was saying, it's still the recording, it's a conditioned space now. They stopped the recording, they took out cancer cells, left it for a day or two, put in cancer cells, recording still off, and those cancer cells were getting changes, healing at the same time. So as well. So
Wow.
another thing, if we get a conditioned space, and that, so.
It's like the resonant energy lingered.
Yes. And I think we all have that sense if you go into a happy house, the energy's happy, and if you go into a house where there's a lot of angst or unhappiness, it's there. You go into a place where people are worshiping, and there's a different energy there.
Yeah.
So
if it's not a corrupted place, because some places of worship or homes or wherever can have a mixture of energies. But yes,
a mess,
and also
yeah.
being out in nature, in a pristine
Absolutely,
space.
yeah.
Yep.
So, and
Wow.
I think we're all naturally tuned to be able to be aware of it to greater or lesser degrees. And so it's just a practice, developing that sensitivity. Like, if you want to be strong, you start doing activities to build muscles and you get stronger and stronger. Same with doing cycling or any kind of sensitivity training.
I love it. It's so great. And I have to say, being in the cycling practice group for 5 years now, um, I'm there at least once or twice, sometimes 3 or 4 times a month, because we meet every week. Anyway, the energies come through. We're all sitting in front of our own computers or phones or wherever from around the world.
Mm.
And we have a kind of a quiet, it's very boring if you look at us. We're just sort of sitting there staring at our screens, but we're doing the
Thanks,
rapid
Lori.
visual cycling. You spice it up with your bad jokes, I have to
Thank you.
say. Try to make it fun. But
Mm.
truly, like if you were to come, let's say, film us, it would look kind of ridiculous. Like everyone's staring at their Zoom
Everybody's
screen
staring at the
silently.
screen, yeah.
Hmm?
Mm. It's just a lot of people staring at a screen or falling asleep, yeah.
Yeah, but it's incredible how, the energies come through. And when it's, we take turns sending to different people. And when it's my turn, I feel it absolutely. And it lingers for at least a day for me from that group experience. So it's really quite remarkable. Well, you've done such a beautiful job of describing these really mind-boggling, puzzling phenomenon. And I'm just wondering, as we're coming to the end of our time, is there anything that has surprised you, that has made you, because you do this all the time, so I'm sure you sort of acclimate to this
Yeah.
level.
Well, I was doing different healing methods. Like say, I came out of the energy closet, as I called it. I'm trying to think, 32, 33 years ago, and I was doing energy work before that, I was trying to figure out whether I was uh, crazy or this actually worked, and I think it's both. Um, but it enhances any other kind of healing you're doing. Um, so I think it enhances. It doesn't have to be healing. Anything you're doing, it really enhances. But because I was doing different methodologies, I noticed that they were all a lot better when I was cycling.
Mhm.
And now I cycle all the time. So what it is I try and stop cycling to see if I'm cycling. And yeah, and I can stop and it hurts. So I just go right back to cycling again. Because they've asked in the experiments, don't cycle. And that's the hardest thing. It's like, don't breathe.
Yeah,
It's natural. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it just feels right. I don't, it's a little bit challenging to learn at first, like any skill. Um, in a way, I would relate it to speed reading in a way because you're going rapidly, and when you're first speed reading, you're practicing these drills, and then all of a sudden the information starts coming through very wonderfully. Well, this same thing in a way, you're practicing going faster and faster and faster, and it's uncomfortable at first, and then it gets easier, and then it gets uncomfortable to not go fast.
Yeah.
Um, and and then you've got it. And there's if you can get a green banana and cycle on it, it'll just get instead of getting soft and mushy, it'll sort of dry out and get really hard and like rock. What do they call that? Petrified. So you scare all the moisture out of the poor banana. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
And
I've seen one of those bananas in person before in our Santa Barbara group. And it's just really incredible. It like becomes hollow and like a char, almost like a black char, like you get with charcoal.
yeah, I had them around the house. I would because I was, am I still being able to cycle? And I go, it's hard to get a green banana because usually they're artificially ripening them. But if you can get a really green banana and
Yeah.
start cycling on it, and wait a minute, it's turning brown and it's turning black, and yeah, and then just, I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought it was just going to look like a regular banana, but it turns black and just gets hard and never rots.
That's incredible. Yeah.
So so that's a way of knowing if you're what Bill would call a block or a brick, and you're not
Yeah.
very sensitive, of knowing that you're cycling, other than having people around you get better. Yeah.
Right. And having things happen in your life
Yes.
quickly and easily, which sounds like a great formula. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, this has just been a treasure trove of stories and fascinating anecdotes and intriguing lines of inquiry. And I think that the bottom line is that this method seems to open people's hearts.
Yeah. And I think that any real healing is from the heart. If you want to say any real healing is love. And people being able to let the love in, and that's healing. So it doesn't matter whether it's a surgeon doing amazing, intricate surgeries, whether it's a naturopath or any other kind of chiropractic, any of the modalities. It's helping people to help themselves, and when folks can let the love in, then the healing happens. And you don't have to believe in this stuff at all. Just be willing to try it.
Yes. And then wait and see what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like people to know before we say goodbye for today?
Oh boy. Have fun.
Oh, I like that. That reminds me that we didn't talk about the guidebook, the rule book, the manual for
One
doing
moment.
this.
It's here, I'll do it that way. Here's the first side of the manual. Be playful. And the other side says avoid ritual.
Yes.
Now, I would change ritual to dogma. Bill and I
Okay.
always had a disagreement on, he would say ritual, and I say, ritual is important to me, but dogmatic, doing it mindlessly or dogmatically, then it wouldn't, then things wouldn't work. So it's being willing to change and be different and be surprised.
And be
Hmm.
playful, that
Yeah.
joyousness, like the
Yeah.
heart of a child. And
Yeah.
letting go of expectation and just being in the moment and letting your energy of joyousness and playfulness kind of be the lead or what takes over. It takes you into a
Yeah.
different place.
Yeah. Be curious and playful. And it's like, I think having fun is so important. Wonderful meeting I learned so much from would say, one of our things we're here to do is to learn how to have fun. And, there's childish fun, there's adolescent fun, but the sense of having fun, that discovery, the awe. Um, yeah. Alrighty.
Well, thank you. This has been just delightful, and you've shared so many wonderful tidbits and really philosophical guideposts for people to live better lives. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And sooner or later, I'll figure out life, and then no, I think it's so much about having the experience and a lot of compassion and kindness for yourself and others. And I think it's if you can be really, how do you, I don't want to say brutally, but I'll use the word brutally honest with yourself, really
Mhm.
honest with yourself, and gently honest with others. It's such a
Mhm.
gift. Yeah, because you can be very hurtful with honesty, or you can be gentle, and um, and that's a gift. So, alrighty. I
Oh,
had a
thank
whole
you.
list of questions that I thought you were going to ask.
We created our own reality here today.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Well, thank you
Thank you,
so
Bonnie.
much, John.
Thank you. And thank you so much for putting up with me for a whole, however long it was, an hour, looks like.
It's a true treat.
Oh, thanks, Laurie.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye all, and thank you for your patience. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. If you want to learn more, you can visit my website for podcast and resources at hopshealingtips.com. You can also like, share, and subscribe to this channel. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and is not providing healthcare advice. Please seek guidance from your professional healthcare team should you need assistance.